Hey guys, I'm going to be doing a patch 10.22 tier list. S comps are going to be Talon, Ashe, and Diana. The A comps are going to be Nami, Dusk, Ninja Zed, and the B comps are going to be Sharpshooters and Duelist. All of these comps can win games. S is going to be more likely to win. A can easily win as well. And then B requires more high roll to win. But I'm not going to cover Divine and Cat. Divine is going to be Warwick carry, where you stack Locket frontline with Divine, and Warwick can clean up. It's really good against Talon, but it gets like dumpstered by Ashe. Katarina, it's hard to win unless you hit Katarina 3. And even then, you need to high roll some other units as well, such as Yone, Zillion, Azir, stuff like that. But anyway, I'm not going to cover these. I'm just going to go ahead and do the S tier comps. But right now, the meta is basically early chosen. You are going to skip level 6, and you're just going to roll on 4-1 for hopefully a 4-cost chosen or a stable board. Then you're going to sit until 5-1, which you're basically going to potentially sell a chosen if it's not one of the higher value ones, and then sell it and pray for another chosen. Obviously, early game item slamming is the same. Please check out my item guide. Before, this is just a disclaimer. You guys are probably going to be put to sleep because Dazzler is so strong that you might as well just pair it with Adept, and you might as well just pair it with the same front line because Yone is strong as well. So when you look at these comps, you're going to be like, what the hell? Why does every comp run the same units? It's just how it is. It'll change in a week for sure, though. I think Dazzler is most likely going to get touched. But not only that, they're also doing systemic changes where you can't just roll on 4-1 all in and just pray you hit. So there's going to be probably more rolling on 6. And not only that, but also a lot of times you're probably going to be skipping level 7 because the level 7 odds are going to go down. But I'll probably make a video on that later. But anyway, sorry for stalling. Let's go ahead and start with Talon. So Talon, how it works is you play strongest board, you roll on 4-1, and pray for a Talon Chosen. Talon Chosen is especially strong, and I think that this comp, Talon and Ashe kind of share similar items, and I would actually, like let me just give you a sneak peek. If you look at Ashe, right, like would you look at that, Aurelia, Shen, Yone, Lux, Morgana, they actually share the same units, and I really think that Chosen Talon, because his AD scaling is so good, Chosen Talon is especially good because you get an extra 30 AD. That's how you play it. Keep in mind that if your Morgana doesn't have a Morello, you better be high rolling your other units. Otherwise, you don't have enough DPS, especially since a lot of people are building ZZ to help out in the Talon matchup. But not only that, let me just go ahead and walk through the best in slot Talon. So the best in slot Talon is going to be GA, IE for sure. And then the last item, which is Hodge here, is pretty flexible. Keep in mind that 6 Enlightened, if you have Hodge Talon on 6 Enlightened, it's 2 autos to reset, whereas 4 Enlightened is 3 autos to reset. The reason Hodge is so good is because if you roll healing, which is obviously the worst one, but it's like a budget BT, and the glove kind of works with IE and Sin. If you roll damage, it's just a guaranteed dub. It's just the Talon one-shots everything it hits. If there's a lot of brawlers, which there shouldn't be, or if there's a lot of ZZ rods, GS is a fine option as well. It's just a little bit harder to get because BF Sword is the best item in the game right now, and GAIE is already demanding 2 BF Swords. What are some other BTs? Okay, I think I already talked about that. Deathblade is good, but again, that's 2 BS Swords. You can protect your Morgana by doing like let's say Aurelia here with ZZ rods, but obviously Yone would be over here or something. Keep in mind that depending on what you get here, like Adept is fine with Shen, you don't really have to change anything. If you get Enlightened, maybe you can take out maybe even Sin for 6 Enlightened if you want to run Yone frontline. Usually you're always running Yone. This unit is so good. It's probably the best leader in the game right now. You can even get Sin Chosen Talon, and you can drop to 2 Enlightened, and you can run 4 Sin. You don't have to run Yone depending if you hit Yone or not. You can even drop to 2 Enlightened, run Cassio instead of Janna, Zillion instead of Janna. There's a lot of flexibility. Just try to play your strongest board with whatever Chosen you hit. I wouldn't really recommend getting any of the like Assassin Pike. It basically your Chosen should always be one of the 4 costs. So Morgana, Talon, Shen, or Yone. So that is the Talon comp. I feel like this comp has been in meta since the beginning. So I'm not going to go too in detail. Honestly, I don't have to go too in detail, but I hope that... Oh, sorry. Like, I hope you can even put like a random ass standalone Azir. You don't have to run something that says if you have like Chosen Sin, right? You don't have to go for Sin. You can just drop Pike, get Chosen Sin in, and then just run like a random Azir. You can run stuff like that. But hopefully I gave a decent amount of options there. Next is going to be Ashe. Ashe is the same thing. It's super flexible. I'll just give a few examples, but let me just walk through how to play the comp. It's the same thing as Talon. You play strongest board until 4-1. The roll odds for chosen 4 cost on 7 is 30% right now, so it is way too high. And then on 4-1, you just roll. If you hit chosen Ashe, it's a wrap. Keep in mind that you can go Ginsu, GA, Hodge on Ashe only if it's chosen. If it's not chosen, I recommend one BS sword item at least. Obviously, Deathblade is really good. QSS is fine, especially if you have a ZZ Rot to help you in the Talon matchup. But otherwise, GA is probably pretty good for the Talon matchup. Lux on a corner. You don't have to run Yuumi Kindred. Sometimes you can go. You can even go for Mystic if you have chosen Mystic. You don't even have to run Yuumi or Kindred. You can just run like Hunter Ashe. You can run Warwick Set. You can drop this garbage for Sejuani Hecarim, and then you can drop Morgana for Ezreal. Yeah. Actually for the Talon comp, you can actually drop Morgana sometimes, but it's less likely in the Talon comp. Usually, Ezreal 2 is definitely stronger than Morgana 2. I usually wouldn't replace Lux. I think Lux is really strong, but hopefully I gave some options. You can even do standalone Azir. You don't have to run. You can go like Cassio. If you have chosen Hunter, you can just drop Kindred, run a random Azir. If your front line is not upgraded, like let's say you have really a 1-1, then you can run Azir to help you out a little bit. There's infinite variations. You just play whatever you were given on in the 8 roll down. Even like 6 Elderwood if you have like chosen Elderwood, and maybe an Elderwood spat for set or something with Warwick. But that's generally worse because you don't have that much CC on your team. Actually, I think Diana is actually S+ tier. It's probably the best comp in the game. But obviously, you need Moonlight Chosen. Diana, there's two sets of best in slot. It's Gunblade, Bramble, Declaw is one of them, and the other one is Gunblade, QSS, Titans. You can even do double Titans, but again, I talk about this a lot, especially in like the item slamming guides, that you should really be making items even if they're suboptimal, especially when you should be saving HP or keeping up with the tempo of the game, the tempo of the lobby, etc., etc. So for example, if you have the opportunity to slam like Hodge Diana and you have like an extra, actually Tier Glove, you don't really contest anything. I guess you can test QSS, but QSS you don't even need. You can slam Hodge Diana, you can slam Jeweled Gauntlet Diana, you can slam IE Diana, you can slam Bramble Diana, you can slam Ice Cream Cone Diana. There's actually just so many options. You shouldn't be too scared. You can't, don't go into the game and just be like, bet, I have to have these 4 items or it's trash. But keep in mind that Gunblade is really good on 4-star Diana. Bramble's really good. Declaw's good. Titans is good. Gunblade's good. I already said Gunblade, but there should be a lot of good items. Also, again, it's pretty flexible. You don't have to run this front line. You can run 4 Sin mid game. Maybe you can even drop Mystic for 4 Sin on level 6, but like you can lose Shen as well. And then at 8, you can run 4 Sin, not Mystic. And then at 9, you put Mystic. Just look at your lobby. Take a look at what you hit. Generally, 2-star units are always going to be better than the 1-star units, even if the 1-star units give a better synergy. So just see what you hit and play from there. But generally, you're going to be rolling on... you're slow rolling on level 5 for Lissandra 3 and Diana 3. Basically, you want to send it on 4-2. You can sack your HP all the way until 4-2. There's some other YouTube videos of gameplay of Diana, but I actually think I averaged like 1.5 with this comp. It's so busted. I think Diana 4 is the most overtuned unit in the game. It just as soon as you stabilize, you will not lose a round until probably stage 6. So even if you're 30 HP on 4-2, you send it for the last Lissandra or the last Dianas, and then you level for like, let's say 2 Sin or 4 Sin, and then you're good to go. This comp is straightforward. All you need is Moonlight Diana. Sin Diana doesn't really work because you have to find Silas 3, and also it's kind of annoying to fit since you only really need 2 Sin. But yeah, as you notice, it's kind of just the Shen, Aurelia, Lux with Dazzler backline because Dazzler is so strong right now. Next is going to be Nami. So this is another one of the comps, can easily be an S tier comp, I think. But it's obviously, it 100% doesn't feel as strong as Diana, but it does feel really strong. Mainly because mid game, you can actually get countered by like brawlers. And then you actually bleed out way too much. And even when you stabilize, it forces you to roll an 8. Whereas Diana, usually when you stabilize, you can actually just eco all the way until 9. But sometimes I catch myself having to roll on 8. I didn't really put that many units in this comp, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But again, I'll talk about that in a second. You need Chosen Nami, by the way, because Chosen Nami has reduced mana. But you're looking for double Luden's Nami. It's Nami's interaction with Luden's that makes it so strong. Also, don't really worry about Jeweled Gauntlet. if you look at Nami's AP, it's not that good. But generally, you're going to be doing 4 Enlightened to 3 Mage. If you have chosen Enlightened, you can just drop something. Like, you can just not run Janna, you run a Cassiopeia instead. Maybe you fit in Dusk with like a random Riven, or maybe even Thresh Sejuani frontline. It just depends what you hit, right? And then if you don't, and then you can run Lilia as well if you're doing Cassio. But late game, if you wanted to cap your comp, it's probably going to be like Cassio, Lilia, and just Yone, stuff like that. I mean, this is the comp. You don't really need Morella Morgana. I don't think your team's lacking any DPS. You basically just want infinite frontline for this Nami. Same thing as Lissandra. You just rolling on 5 for Nami 3. Chosen Nami early game, and you are good to go. The comp skips level. Basically, you hit on level 5, and then you skip level 6 and 7, and you go 8, and then debate whether you need to roll, and then you can go 9 and cap your comp that way. And so next is Dusk. So this comp is one of the comps that I feel like it wins a lot of lobbies, but only because you're turbo high rolling. And I'll explain why. So let's say you hit a Dusk Riven on 4-1. And then you have the Bramble Declaw. Spark is best in slot, but you don't actually need these items. And then you want to carry Jhin since you can pair it with Vayne. But let's say that you have a Dusk Spat as well. You can just go like Thresh Lilia as well. You don't even need to run Jhin. And then you can also go like GA Dusk Spat on Kayn. That's one variation. You can also do Yone with Dusk Spat, and then that way you don't have to run this Worthless Vayne, which means you can also play like Ashe carry. But that's also a different variation of Ashe, but I'm going to keep this as a separate comp because it generally is a separate comp. You can even Dusk set, but generally 4-1 you're going to roll, and you just pick up the same units as always. Always Morella Morgana. That's, if you look at the item guide, that's why I stress the importance of Merlot. It's because almost every comp in the game is going to be running Morgana, and Morgana with and without Morello is a different unit. You don't have to run Vayne, you don't have to run Jhin. You can go Ashe carry with this as well. You can even go Talon carry, but generally these are going to be the units for it. Definitely really strong if you can go 8, or if you're really high rolling and you can push 9. Ninja Zed. Wow, okay, wow, I'm saying this a lot, but Ninja Zed is really strong as well, and it has probably the highest cap in the game. The only problem with the comp is that Shen, everyone wants Shen. There's no such thing as someone not buying Shen, and if you don't find Shen, which you sometimes won't because you're going to be rolling on 6 and 7 this game, you're rolling on 6 to stabilize for this comp, and then once you're stable, you're going to go 7 and then start slow rolling and then send it for Z3. But the reason this comp is not higher in the tier list, even though it has one of the higher caps, is because it's really inconsistent, and the chance you go 8th with this comp is really high. Like, reasons are, if you don't have Shen, you're doomed. But not only that, you also have to win, or you also have to lose streak early game most of the time, because if you don't have this exact combination of Zed, it's a lot weaker. Obviously, if you're on a win streak, you can get away with it because you have HP to spare. But if you're lose streaking early and you want to win out, you need basically at least 1 Zeke's, and you need this exact combination. Rudan's just got buffed recently, and basically just gives him the ninja proc, and then that ninja proc, or the ninja proc gives him a lot of AD, and that extra proc like is basically just giving him 2 autos. QSS is really good against Adept. Also, he doesn't get CC'd, and then he can spam proc Shade to get him out of CC, and then RC so he doesn't lose time in between autos. Locket you don't really need, but double Zeke's and these items you do need. There are some different variations, such as losing Elise for Zillion. It gives you Mystic, but I didn't put it. Otherwise, it's like 2. You don't even need Kayn. The Shade isn't the important part of the comp. You don't even need Keeper. You don't even need Cultist. But generally, you're going to be doing Elise Pike mid game, because there's no way you don't find an Elise or a Pike when you're rolling for Zed. I think that this comp, if you need a bow opener, and if you start bow, you can play it. I just don't yell at me when you go 8th. But the comp's a lot of fun, I promise. If you haven't tried it, give it a try, especially when you go bow opener, and hopefully you can find Shen, and hopefully you can find these items. The comp's good though, no cap. Okay, next is going to be Sharpshooters. Again, these comps can win, but do require a little bit more high roll. So this is my board on 8. Generally speaking, I will never pick up a Nidalee and Vayne and keep that and play 6 Sharpshooter. I'll probably just buy the Nidalee or the Vayne early game and pivot out into Ashe or Talon. But if you're just naturaling all the Jinx items, all the Teemos, all the like random Jhin on like 6 or something, like whatever, you can commit to Sharpshooters. But usually you want to commit to Sharpshooters with a chosen Teemo, Jinx, or Jhin. If you have chosen Teemo, it has reduced mana and you can actually carry Teemo, and the items could be like Luden's works really well with him, Rabadon's is good, Morella's good, Ice Cream Cone is really good, Zeke's is fine as well. That's one way to play the Sharpshooters. You can go like Zeke's, Ice Cream Cone, Jinx. But another way is you can also carry Jinx, which like with Shojin, Luden's, Jeweled Gauntlet, Hodge, Rabadons, there's a lot. And then Jhin is just the standard Jhin carry. It's going to be like GA, IE, Deathblade, stuff like that. ZZ Rod is probably the best item for Sharpshooters because you are lacking frontline and you are lacking Talon protection. That's why Azir is really good. You can put soldiers here. ZZ Rod helps a little bit of Talon. Sejuani is basically the strongest 1 unit slot frontline that you can get. But the comp can easily win. You can roll for Teemo on 7, or if it's Jinx, you can roll to stable on 7 and then go 8 and then slow roll for Jinx, or send it when you're starting to get low. But you generally have to roll on 4-1 for the 6 sharp if you are playing this comp. It does have potential to win for sure. You can play with keepers, but it's a lot weaker than Sejuani. And the last comp is Duelist. You need chosen Yasuo, and people always ask me what is best in slot Yasuo. It used to be Titans, i.e. QSS, but I really think that in this meta, even though there is Adept, it sounds weird, but I don't think you need QSS because no one really runs Sejuani. And GA is almost always necessary because, well, usually Yasuo will in this spot will never get targeted by Ashe because no one puts Ashe in the middle like this. It's always usually hugging a corner with GA. But GA is also really good against Talon. It's also really good against random Ashe and stuff like that. Hodge is not bad and IE is not bad. Even Titans is okay. You can go GA, IE Titans, GA, IE QSS, Bramble. There's a lot of good items. Just make sure you're not slamming like Ginsu or something. But generally speaking, this comp, basically you're slow rolling on level 5 for Yasuo 3. And the moment you hit Yasuo 3, you never reroll a single time. You just keep on pumping EXP, playing to the rhythm of the game. And then, or your eco, and then you go 8, and if you naturaled a Yone or Lee Sin by the time, or Yone rather, you're pretty much set. You can roll an 8 for Yone and Lee Sin. Otherwise, a lot of times Yasuo 3 is actually strong enough, and this board is strong enough where you can just skip level 9. So that's basically what happens for a lot of the reroll comps, where you reroll early on 5 and you get to skip level 6, 7, and even sometimes 8. I think Diana skips level 8 the most, then Nami skips level 8 the next most, and then Yasuo skips level 8 the least. That's why the chronological order, or not chronological, but the descending order. The comp can 100% win though at 9. Yasuo 3 is a beast. It'll kill everything instantly. It'll out-sustain Ashe. It'll out-sustain Talon for sure. Hope you guys enjoyed the tier list. This is only going to be valid for a week, by the way. I think that next patch, which is coming out, this is after the Morg fix, by the way, but next patch that comes out, the game is going to change a lot. So stay tuned for that. Please sub if you like this content. I appreciate it, guys. Peace.